So I'm Giles Duley and I'm a documentary photographer. About 10 years ago, I myself became part of the story when I was injured in Afghanistan. I lost both my legs and my arm. And when this crisis happened, it was actually some of the teams that had helped save my life and helped me regain my independence that got in contact and asked if I would come along and document what was happening. They felt it was important that this was really a historic moment for the NHS and there should be a record. I spent most of my life documenting conflicts and I'm really interested in creating a historical record of these events. What's happening right now in the UK is again historic. This is the biggest crisis the NHS has ever faced. And so for me, it felt important that I could be here and to create something that was a record that showed all the different elements. I spent a lot of time myself in an intensive care unit. I spent 46 days recovering after my injuries. Intensive care units are a very challenging place to be in. They're a very cold environment. They feel more like the set of a sci-fi film. If I'm honest, struggled with the idea of going back and documenting one. I've gone back to Afghanistan, I continue to work in conflict zones, but if I'm honest, I was more scared of returning to the intensive care unit to document the work there. But what I was looking for in the searching was to find that humanity. Because I remember myself that even though I was in a semi-induced coma and I was in and out of consciousness, I had machines, I remember those moments of the nurses, the doctors just squeezing my hand or talking to me or that eye contact. Those were the most important days of my life. I had no other way of communicating in those little touches. So I wanted to kind of find that in this story. And so I think for me, probably the most moving photograph was taken during a night shift in what was the pediatric intensive care unit here at St Mary's, which was now operating as an adult COVID-19 ward. And it's a place, to say, that feels more like a science fiction film. The machines bleeping, there's nothing really that you would link in with humanity. It was dark, so you couldn't see outside the window. And watching the doctors and the nurses and seeing them holding hands with the patients. And there's one photograph, but it's of one of the doctors holding a comatose patient. And that for me represents everything that I've seen here in a place that is struggling with such a difficult and complex virus. As I keep seeing again and again the humanity in all the staff that work here. You know, a lot of politicians and public figures are using the analogy of conflict. You know, they talk about this being a war against COVID, the NHS staff are on the front lines. And I think that's really the opposite of the truth. I know a lot about conflict zones. I spent over 15 years working with medical NGOs. War is the lack of humanity. War is the most base act that any one person could perpetrate on another. What you see in the hospitals right now, in the hospitals dealing with COVID-19, is the complete opposite of that. It's about humanity, it's about caring, it's about nurturing, it's about looking after people. And really that couldn't be any more opposite than what war really is. One of the things that really amazed me in the humanity of the staff here is their intimacy with the patients. You know, talking to them, a lot of them were scared, a lot of them were very nervous about what was happening. You know, it was a new virus, something most of them had never experienced working in PPE, and it would be very understandable for them to want to keep a distance from people that they knew were infected. But what I have seen is how the staff have just accepted it's their job. You know, watching those little details of life, like shaving a patient, holding their hand, spending time with them, being close to them. I can't tell you, as a former patient, how important that is. But I also can't tell you how much I respect people that choose to do that, even knowing the patient has COVID-19. It's been a real honor to work in some of the wards and in the ICU units where there are people there that were involved in giving me my life back. It's hard to explain the bond you have with somebody that was your practitioner, who was your doctor, who was your nurse. They were the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. And yeah, to stand alongside them has been a really big honor. I'm incredibly grateful. I owe my life to the NHS, but more than just owing my survival, I also owe the NHS the opportunity to have my life back and to return to the work that I love. And this is the first opportunity I've had to come and work alongside some of the people that actually gave me that second chance at life. This is a hugely, hugely personal project, and I wanted the world to see what I had seen as a patient and what I've been witnessing here during the COVID-19 crisis.
Imperial.